Hi, I'm Marcus from Hambledon Rehab, and today we are going to be looking at the cuboid and fibula and the sequencing that happens between the two of them in gait, affecting everything from the foot to the sacrum, including the pelvic floor. Now you may be wondering why you want to have a little look at this. Well, if you have any sacrum or SI joint issues, if you've ever had a baby, or if you feel that your knee or ankle are particularly jammed up, then this might be a good drill for you to look at and assess yourself to see if there's any fibular movement issues. Whilst there are up to 18 different phases of gait, we're only going to be looking at two elements today: the leg that's at the front and the leg that's at the back. If we look at the back leg first, we can see that the foot is in a supinated position, meaning that the cuboid bone is open. The calcaneus is inverted and rotated externally, creating space for the fibula to move posteriorly around the lower leg. The proximal portion of the fibula also moves posteriorly in this position. If both are rotating posteriorly, the femur will also rotate externally, causing it to centrate the hip in the socket. The iliac bone on this side will go into a posterior tilt, causing the hip to move into extension, allowing for maximal energy transfer and propulsion. Okay, so I'm going to demo this movement a few times for you so that you can see what's happening. So we're going to concentrate on the lateral portion of the ankle first, and just up here below the knee where the fibula attaches in here. Okay, so as you move from here into that rear leg position, you can see it all moving round. We'll do that again. So watch the fibula here, transitions round, ready for propulsion in that posterior position. If you watch the femur this time, so we're going from here, rotating round again, ready for propulsion. Now at the same time, on the other side, the cuboid and calcaneus are closing up. The fibula should move forward both at the top and the bottom. The femur internally rotates, putting the iliac bone into an anterior tilt, which is efficient for hip flexion. Now, as we're going through these movements, we need to be assessing, is there any pain? Is there restriction? If there is restriction, is it local? Is it global? Whereabouts is it? Does it change your breath at any point, either in pace or depth? And we can use those as a measure of how to correct these movements going forward. Okay, so I wanted to give you a closer look at what's happening with the fibula in these various positions. So you can see this is the forward leg, foot slightly pronating, closing up the calcaneus and the cuboid, fibula in an anterior position. I'm just going to palpate the fibula head for you. It's right here. Okay, so I'm just going to take that through into slightly awkward, trying to hold on to that fibula head. You can see how the whole of the fibula has twisted backwards and now pointing in this direction, and that external rotation in the femur you might just about be able to see in the shot. So I want to go back to the pelvis for a second and how we've just evaluated it in gait, and I want to have a look at what's happening to the pelvic floor. We're going to divide the pelvic floor in half, so we've got the left and the right, so effectively we can mirror what's going on with the rearward facing leg and the forward facing leg. So if we start with the rearward facing leg, so we've got the femur attaching in here, coming back and engaging with the ground, we find that the pelvic floor on this side is actually contracting in a concentric manner, so it's shortening as it does so. If we look at the other side with the forward facing leg coming this way into the ground, we find that actually the pelvic floor is loading in an eccentric manner, so the fibers of the pelvic floor are getting longer. What this means is, as we're walking, we've got our two portions of the pelvic floor here. As one gets shorter, the other gets longer. and then like so. So as we're walking, the propulsion side is contracting and the leading side is elongating, and they're doing this as we walk. So we can see that any issues with our feet or particular movements within the feet and how they're cueing the rest of the leg can have an effect on the pelvic floor. So, whilst this can cause issues in the feet directly, the ankles, the knees and the hips, affecting the pelvic floor basically means that we're going to be affecting the rest of the diaphragms, including the cranial bones. And this can have a knock-on effect with our neck and the rest of the axial skeleton. What we also need to consider is that if you've had any pelvic floor trauma, so if you've had a baby or there's been any other trauma to your pelvic floor, this can have an effect on exactly the same chain. So you might find that you have issues with your feet because you've had some pelvic floor trauma, and we need to identify which way round those issues are being caused. If you need any help with identifying what's going on and where, please feel free to reach out to me or any one of my other colleagues who might be able to help you with this. If you found this video useful, please give it one of these. If you have any questions, queries or comments, please pop them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and please feel free to share this content.